Direct Connection is made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities and is made possible by the generous support of our members. Thank you. Live from Maryland Public Television, this is Direct Connection with Jeff Salkin.
Hi, everybody, and thanks for tuning in for Direct Connection. We begin tonight with the most crowded osprey nest in the Chesapeake Bay. In addition to 2 adults and 2 chicks, there are often thousands of people looking in over a very popular webcam. Joining us live from Kent Island tonight is Joel Dunn. He's the president and CEO of the Chesapeake Conservancy. Joel, thanks for being with us. Over your left shoulder is the nest, and it's so interesting to me that in an enormous bay, thousands of square miles, that little platform, a couple of square feet, is the thing that sort of provides the key for a lot of people to get interested in what the bay is all about.
Well, Jeff, thanks so much for having me on. It's a pleasure to be on your show, and I'm thrilled to be able to share this wonderful, magical story of these osprey with your viewers. Our live cameras on our website share this story with 10 million viewers a year, and it's one of the most exciting stories in the Chesapeake, and it shares the magic of the Chesapeake Bay with everyone. And hopefully we'll create a society that loves the bay, that cares about the bay, that votes for the bay, maybe even commits their career to protecting it.
We should mention that this webcam that everybody's looking at live now is a partnership of the Chesapeake Conservancy, also Explore.org, and the Crazy Osprey family. Tell me about those folks.
Well, the Crazy Osprey family is a very generous partner of ours, and they've been actually watching these osprey for 16 years. They set up their first camera 16 years ago. We met them about 4 or 5 years ago, and they wanted to share this beautiful, magical experience with the wider world, so we figured out a way to stream it to the internet. And our technique has evolved over the years. We've leveraged new technology. We partnered with a group called Explore.org that does webcams all around the world, and they've upgraded our camera technology and our feed on the internet. So now our camera can pan, it's got night vision, it can zoom in and out. So we've really stepped up our game. And what's great about it is it allows people to see the whole life cycle of these osprey, from the moment they arrive around St. Patrick's Day in March to the point where they build their nest over the next month and lay their eggs in April. And then when they hatch at the end of May, then the parents start to feed them until they fledge in September and leave the nest. It's really just an amazing ability to see this I guess, Kardashian or bachelor story of nature occur in real time in the Chesapeake Bay.
And you think about the history of the ospreys and what happened in the 1970s, all but wiped out because of DDT.
You know, that's a really, really important point. So the Environmental Protection Agency in the 70s banned DDT from the United States because it was causing a thinning of eggshells in birds of prey, like osprey, like falcons, and they nearly disappeared from the Chesapeake Bay. Peregrine falcons disappeared entirely. Osprey, their population dropped significantly. But because of the Environmental Protection Agency and because of an engaged citizenry and scientists, they banned that chemical, and that allowed the birds to come back. And now they're thriving in the Chesapeake Bay. Now, the banning of that chemical in combination with the restoration of the Chesapeake Bay, the concerted effort from states, federal agencies, private citizens to reduce pollution to the Chesapeake has fueled fish populations, grass is growing in the Chesapeake Bay, and now we have a thriving osprey population because they have so much food to eat. Ospreys' diets are composed of 99% fish, and so a healthy Chesapeake Bay equals a healthy osprey population.
And looking into the nest now, I was going to do play-by-play on this, but it's really not that exciting right now because it's either mom or dad on the right. The other adult osprey would be out fishing In the middle, the two chicks, it's nap time, which tends to happen after a big meal. It's like Thanksgiving dinner. But we can take a look. We have some of the videotape, the really cute stuff from when they were hatched just a few weeks ago. And while we play that, you can answer. I'm sorry.
Sure. I was just going to say that those moments that you're not maybe capturing live are really exciting when the parents bring back fish to the nest. Of course, they'll tear that fish up and they'll feed it to the chicks, and that's always really interesting to see. Osprey are pretty amazing in how they catch fish. When they dive down into the water, they have a third eyelid that covers their eyes and acts like a goggle when they go underneath the water and bring that fish up. Then they position the fish so they can fly aerodynamically, and they'll bring that back to the nest. And when you see these 5.5-foot wingspan birds fly over you, you get this feeling of just amazing, like, magic and inspiration for this ecosystem. So what the camera does is it shares that story with the wider world, gives them a sense of appreciation for why we should care about the Chesapeake Bay and wildlife, and gives you a window into the world of what it takes to survive out there.
While we look at the chicks feeding, let me remind our viewers 3 ways to get involved tonight. You can call the number on the screen with your questions. You can tweet your questions. The Twitter address is @MPT News. You can also email mptnews@yahoo.com, mptnews@yahoo.com. Let's start with a phone call. West Virginia, this is Jim. Jim, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question about the nest itself.
Mm-hmm.
In September, when they leave the nest, does someone go out there and dismantle that nest completely and do away with it, and they come back the next year and they build from scratch? Or is it left there and they come back next year and just rebuild the same nest?
Great question, Jim. Thank you very much. Joel?
Yeah, sure, Jim. Thanks a lot for your question. Yeah, in this nest in particular, the crazy osprey family does remove it and set it up again the following season. There's a couple reasons for that. One is there are ice flows here that tend to knock over the nest stand. But two is that by removing the nest material, you improve the survival chances of the chicks. There's a lot of parasites that can persist in nests, and so the thought process there is to create a clean slate. They always rebuild it. They do it well. It's really stable and has survived numerous storms. And so that's the thought process.
Joel, a Twitter question. Do ospreys have more than one set of chicks each year? And from that, we can also talk about the incredible migration that they perform each winter.
Sure. Typically, they'll only have one clutch of birds a season. And we've had a lot of experience with these birds in particular. Some years they've been incredibly successful with 3 or 4 chicks fledging. One year we lost all the chicks and we were able to introduce some chicks from another nest that was a nuisance nest. And the parents adopted the chicks and raised them. Last year we lost all of the eggs to a crow that came in and knocked them out. This year one of the eggs was damaged by the birds moving a stick around in the nest. All that being said, they typically do only have one clutch a year. And then, after they raise their chicks, the birds split up and fly down to South America or Central America, which is an amazing story. They migrate all the way down there every year, and then they fly back and meet up and mate again. And they mate for life as long as their partner's around. It's a really fascinating global ecological phenomenon. So it connects us with the rainforests of Central and South America, which I think is such a cool story and such a neat thing to be a part of.
It's amazing. You think about the young chicks just laying there trying to grow as fast as they can. Nobody's told them yet that they got to grow up fast so they can fly to South America at some point. Let's take a phone call. This is going to be Hilda, and Hilda is there. Hilda, thank you for calling. Go ahead.
Do you believe the same couple of birds come back each year?
Thank you very much.
So we have an astute group of bird watchers on this nest in particular, and we feel fairly confident that Audrey is the female bird, and that she has been consistent, and that her mate Tom is relatively consistent. They've lost one Tom relatively recently and got a new Tom, if you will. But the Osprey watchers are pretty confident this is Audrey, and she's very consistent in coming back to this location.
Later this week, Joel, the University of Maryland Center for Environmental Science is coming out with its annual Bay Report Card. We're told it shows continuing improvement in the health of the Bay. Is that what you see?
Yeah, we're seeing some tremendous progress in the Chesapeake Bay. We're seeing the grasses come back in the Chesapeake. We're seeing fish populations and other wildlife populations come back. The nitrogen and phosphorus loads have been reduced over the last decade, and as a result, the Chesapeake Bay is doing better. Now, I want to temper that enthusiasm by saying we have a long way to go. Most of the improvement we've seen is from a pretty intense improvement to sewage treatment systems like Blue Plains in Washington, D.C. The next leg of the journey to restore the Chesapeake Bay will be challenging. We're going to need to go after something called non-point source pollution. That's stuff that's very difficult to put your finger on, if you will, and we'll take a concerted effort from our community to not only identify where that pollution is coming from, but come up with creative ways to engage landowners in techniques to reduce the nutrient sediment pollution to the Chesapeake that fuels some of the algae that causes so many problems.
Well, right now, one of the chicks is up from his nap, and it's feeding time up in the nest. Let's take a phone call. This call is from Anne Arundel County. Suzanne, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Hi, good evening. I was wondering, is ospreys nest on the ocean, or are they generally only on the Chesapeake Bay?
Thanks very much.
So osprey are found, believe it or not, on every continent around the world except Antarctica, I believe. But they typically nest near water bodies, usually I'd say oceans or bays or rivers. So yes, you'll find them in places next to the straight up ocean, but also in places like the Chesapeake Bay. Anywhere where you have a thriving fish population, you'll typically find osprey. Now, some places can support more osprey than others. The Chesapeake Bay estuary is the largest in North America and arguably one of the most productive in the world. And that creates the opportunity for a thriving osprey population. That's why you see so many here. But you'll see them up and down the East Coast, all the way, Cape Cod, around New York City and Long Island Sound, the Chesapeake Bay, and so on and so forth.
Joel, email question. The viewer wants to know who has control over the operation of the camera. And I think in terms of minute by minute zoom in, zoom out stuff.
Sure, great question. Because of the technology improvements of Explore.org, we are able to allow authorized users to control the camera so that you can see the birds when they move. Now, we have it pre-programmed too so that it'll go to their typical roosting spots, but Explore.org allows certain people that we think are responsible to control the camera, and then they actually have designated times for those individuals to keep an eye on the camera in case something cool happens that we can pan to during the moment.
Let's get one more phone call for you. Prince George's County, this is David. David, thank you for the call. Go ahead.
Yeah, my question was anything about the camera action.
What about the camera action?
That wasn't what my point was. I said in the middle of winter, I see ospreys right around here in the middle of winter.
Interesting. Thank you very much. Do they all fly south?
Yes, they usually typically all fly south. I'm not sure if what you're seeing in the middle of winter is an osprey, because they'll typically leave here around late September, at the latest early October, and they'll fly south.
Lastly, Joel, just half a minute. What's the Conservancy most focused on right now?
Well, I did want to mention we also have a heron camera and a peregrine falcon camera, which are really cool too. So I hope your viewers don't miss out on the opportunity to see those birds. So we're really focused on creating national parks, state parks, public access sites throughout the Chesapeake Bay, and improving the information that all of our partners across the Chesapeake Bay are using to determine where they spend their time and energy in the restoration of the Chesapeake Bay. So we're focused on democratizing the conservation movement, making everybody smarter, faster, more effective, more able to collaborate together as a community, and creating places where people can get out to the bay so that they learn to love it and that they'll learn to support it moving forward.
Very good. Joel Dunn of the Chesapeake Conservancy joining us live from Kent Island. Thanks so much. We appreciate it. And we're back with our Your Health segment right after this.
Hi, I'm Jasmine, and my favorite book is Americana by Shamanda Ngozi Adichie. I read it when I just got out of college, and the book is about a female protagonist who was kind of trying to search and find her own way. So for me, it was very relatable, and it helped me to kind of navigate my own way right after college. I appreciated the book because there were places highlighted in Baltimore, and being that I am a Baltimorean, it really hit close to home. You know, you have the daily bustle of the day, but you can come home and snuggle up with a good book. And that's why I can appreciate reading, because for me, when you need a moment to just travel to a distant place or just to live someone else's life, you can always get lost in a book. I love reading for that fact. It's a perfect escape.
Vote now for your favorite book at mpt.org/Great American Read.
Got an unused vehicle going nowhere? Donate it to the one place that can take you any place. Visit mpt.org/vehicles and support the programs you love on MPT.
The MPT app puts our programs right at your fingertips, so you can choose when to watch, what to watch, wherever you want to watch it. Download it now.
Are you turning 70 and a half this year?
In this week's Your Health segment, Dr. Kenneth Miller, Clinical Associate Professor of Medicine at the University of Maryland School of Medicine and Outpatient Medical Director at the University of Maryland, Marlene and Stuart Greenebaum Comprehensive Cancer Center. Doctor, thank you for being with us.
Thanks for inviting me.
You focus on treating people with cancer, but also on treating people and helping them live well beyond the diagnosis and hopefully beyond treatment and remission.
And that's exactly what we hope for. I think the point you made is a really good one, which is personally, I've never really liked the term cancer patient. I think the people we treat are people with cancer. About 19 years ago, my wife Joan had leukemia. Thankfully, she's okay, but I didn't look at Joan as a leukemic. She was a 41-year-old mother and writer and many other things who developed leukemia. And exactly what we're looking for is to restore people to good health. Hopefully that they will eventually look at cancer as something in their past medical history or something that they're living with.
How does that perspective affect how you treat people? I don't know if it affects the diagnosis, the prescriptions, but how you treat them as people.
Yeah. Over the course of at least my career, many things that we do have become very standardized and really protocols and guidelines that we follow. So people are able to get to get good care in all different parts of the country. The thing that really distinguishes I think a truly a good physician, a good team, a good medical center and cancer center is delivering care with compassion. It means listening to people, empathizing, really caring about them and their families as if they were your neighbor or your own family member.
How should family members approach this? How do you talk to the person who has been given a diagnosis that nobody wants to get?
Yeah. The first few days are a shock because someone has gone from, being in good health, and then they notice a cough, or they may cough up blood, or they may have shortness of breath or other symptoms. They go to the doctor, and all of a sudden their life can change really in a sunset. So it is a roller coaster after someone gets the diagnosis. And I think there's a couple things that I would advise. One is it's important to talk as openly and truthfully as you can, and to share, for family members to share their own feeling and say, wow, this really is a shock, and I'm worried. And then people can communicate. And the other is patience with the patient. That basically this, the talking about it, the sharing happens over time. It may not all happen in one evening or one afternoon.
The other thing that's changed, thankfully, is medical therapy, surgical therapy, radiation. I mean, it's all evolved, and the pace of discovery and advancement seems to be picking up.
So it is incredibly exciting to be in the cancer field now. There's so many illnesses, cancers that we didn't have a lot of luck treating years ago when I started my career. We've made a lot of headway, and so people now are doing a lot better than ever before. 70% of our cancer survivors are more than 5 years out, and they're going on with their lives.
Has it ever been like that before?
No, and it's been a gradual process. That there have been some huge developments where all of a sudden we take these giant steps, but a lot of baby steps along the way, thankfully moving us to where we are now.
Let's grab a phone call. Allegheny County, this is Lisa. Lisa, thanks for the call. Go ahead.
Hi, I'm curious to know, how is the Cas and CRISPR technology for gene therapy being used for cancer treatment?
Thank you very much. I missed the names. CRISPR therapy?
I missed that too.
Gene editing stuff?
Yeah. Well, gene editing is probably in its infancy. We are able now to insert some genes into lymphocytes, which are part of the immune system, to help program them to respond to cancer. So that has been
a big immunotherapy?
It's a form of immunotherapy called CAR T therapy. And again, it's somewhat in its infancy. We're able to use viruses, I would call oncolytic viruses that are able to insert these genes. Initially, one of the concerns was, would they insert the genes in the wrong place? But I think we've got a much better handle on it now. So stay tuned for more progress in that field.
When you focus on the emotional well-being of the patient, what sort of services are available to help with that?
So a comprehensive cancer center, which we're fortunate to have in Baltimore, and there's 49 of them throughout the country, really have that whole spectrum of services. What does that mean? When you look at someone who's going through the cancer experience, there's medical needs, there's psychosocial needs, there's spiritual needs as well. And so a comprehensive cancer center can provide that. It means social work. It means pastoral care, nutrition, and also really excellent nursing. I don't want to leave that out because cancer care is a team effort. Fortunately, when people go through the cancer experience, often they will say, it's the last thing I ever expected, the last thing I ever thought I would go through in my life. But it was as good an experience as it might have been, because you really learn how kind and compassionate caregivers, other people can be, and family members.
Your thoughts on the importance of early screening. I wonder if when people hear that we're making great medical progress, we have terrific therapies, you might think it's less important to catch it early. How do you see it?
Yeah, it's incredibly important to catch cancer early. So some of the biggest advances that we've made have been in screening. And with that in mind, let me just say to the people that are watching, please have a colonoscopy if you're over 50. And in fact, in some groups, we're now talking about age 45. Please have mammograms, pap smears. These are all screening tests where if you find a cancer early, the cure rates are especially high. People are afraid sometimes to go for screening.
Nobody wants bad news.
No, and you know what? Doctors are part of that also. We as patients have our own worries, but it's very, very important to go for screening. It really saves lives.
Good place to end it. Dr. Kenneth Miller, University of Maryland, Greenebaum Comprehensive Cancer Center. Doctor, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Coming up Thursday on Your Money and Business, the all-important job interview. We'll find out how you can say the right things to get hired. Also, top advice for protecting seniors and their money. Remember to follow us on Twitter. The Twitter address is @MPT News, and get updates on our upcoming programs by visiting our main website at mpt.org. Now, for all of us here at MPT, I'm Jeff Salkin. Thanks for watching Direct Connection, and have a good night.
Your health segments are a co-production of Maryland Public Television and the University of Maryland Medical System.
This program was made by MPT to serve all of our diverse communities.